Okay guys, we're back doing another video on LS430 accessories, and we're doing another interior OEM accessory today. So what I've got that's just arrived from Japan is the OEM non-smoking ashtray or non-smoking cubby holder. So you can see there, nice big unit, lots of space in there. It's got a 12-volt charging port. And if we compare that to the original factory ashtray, you can see even with that removed, it's not an awful lot of space to put your phone or whatever, or your change. And it's just generally not a great usable space if you're not a smoker like I am. Whereas this OEM piece, lots of room in there to put your phone or whatever, put your change and stuff like that. It's just much more convenient for somebody like me who doesn't smoke. So you may notice wood colors on these are not the same. That doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to take this up to the bench and we're going to swap over my wood grain onto this one, and I'm going to talk through stuff like part numbers and how you get hold of these as well. Alright, so join me over there. Alright, here we are up at the bench. So we've got the two units set up here, and I'm going to talk through a few little differences between them. Obviously, if you've bought one, it's got the correct colour wood, it's for the pre or post facelift, and it's exactly the same as yours. You can just swap it in and not have to think about any of this. But I'm going to kind of go through some of the differences anyway, and part numbers and stuff like that, just to help you guys out. So in my case, I'm going to need to swap the wood between these two, and I'm going to need to swap the doors as well, because they also have the wood on them. So let's talk through some of the differences between these. So both of these here are for a 5-speed transmission car. So that's an LS430 or Toyota Celsior that was built from 2001 model year up to 2003 model year inclusive. That's model year, so they might be registered at different times. They have quite a large hole here for the 5-speed transmission. It's almost exactly the same size as that hole. So especially once you've got the chrome trim on, they basically look like they're the same size. The 2004 to 2006 model year that has a 6-speed transmission will have a shorter aperture here, so it ends around about here. So when you're buying these, you might see ones for pre or post facelift. You can absolutely swap the internals from pre to post facelift and vice versa. So if what you're buying is a facelift and your car's a pre-facelift, that's not a problem, because you can just swap these face plates. So that's which you might want to keep in mind. These two are pre-facelift, but I still need to swap them anyway because they're the wrong color. So looking at the differences in part numbers and stuff like that, there's a couple of differences on the back here. If you're hunting for one of these and the seller's listed it and you see a picture like this, you don't know what's going on inside. One way to tell if it's the non-smoking version is that it will say box here. The ashtray version says ash. So that's a very good indication already whether you've got the non-smoking or the smoking version, is whether it says box or ash on the back. Another difference is that there's only 2 wires here on the non-smoking version that goes into a 4-pin connector. You have the same 4-pin connector over here, but it has 4 wires going into it, because you've got a little light in the smoking version which lights the ring around here. That's not needed on the box version. There's no light here at all. They are still plug and play into the car, so it's absolutely fine. There's nothing you need to change on the wiring. It's just something that if you're looking at a listing and you can only see the backs of these, it's a good way to tell whether it's a smoking or a non-smoking version that you might be buying. Okay, another very important difference worth noting is that both of these say RH on them, and also over here RHD. That means this is from a right-hand drive vehicle. In the UK we drive right-hand drive cars, and in Japan we do the same. So I imported this one from Japan, and this is my original UK one. If you're in a left-hand drive country, for instance you're in North America, you know, USA, Canada, that sort of thing, or continental Europe, you're going to want one that says LH here and LHD over here for a left-hand drive. the part numbers are different between them as well. So the part numbers on the back here, I will put these in the description. 58810-500, and then ending in 30 and 40. That's the right-hand drive version. For left-hand drive versions, it's almost the same number, but it ends in 10 and 20. So 10 and 20 on the end should mean it's a left-hand drive one. 30 and 40 on the end should be a right-hand drive one. So that's the part numbers. Right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to turn both of these over, and I'm going to start the process of removing these main black plastic parts here, which there's three. There's the cover, the inner box, and the outer box with the hinge. And I'm going to swap them between the two units. Right, tools required for this. Just one screwdriver, that's it. I'm using a JIS number 2, Japanese Industrial Standard, which is the correct tool for the job, but a Phillips screwdriver will work on this just fine because there's nothing high torque here. Okay, so first things first, let's remove these plates. Lever up slightly on the top here to get it free of that clip, and then it just comes off. Same with this one, just comes off. Right, and that will expose a number of screws. We're going to start with the large screws because it's going to make it easier to work with. There's 1, 2, and then 3, 4. Let's do that. One, two, three, 4. And the same on the other one. Alright, now these can come off, should come out. There we go. Put this to one side for now. Same with this one. They have little locating pins, which might make it a little fiddly to get them out, but they do come. Okay, that gives me these two. You can actually see the difference in colour there. So this one is bird's eye maple. You can see it's got lots of little eyes, lots of little knots in it. And this one is the walnut version, which is out of my car. Slightly darker, more reddish hue and less knots in it. Okay, so now that we've got these two out, unfortunately we can't just swap it over because you can see the doors are different as well. If you were just swapping from facelift to pre-facelift or vice versa, and actually your wood colours were the same, you could just swap this whole piece in. Sometimes you'll see these listed just as this without the faceplate on them, and you can buy them just like this. Okay, so this is actually a two-part assembly. So we're going to remove now 4 screws, one there, one there, one there, and one down here. I'm going to take them out, and that should allow us to separate it into the 2 separate pieces, which is the box and then the hinged door assembly. Okay, so let's do that. One, 2, 3. Can't see that one. And 4. There we go. That should allow us to separate that in a second. I'll do the same on this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right, now these have a couple of little locating dowels on that side. Dowels probably isn't the correct word, but you know what I mean. Gradually tease that out, there we go. You can see the box. We'll put to one side for a minute. And the door assembly here. You should be able to see inside there are 3 little screws, and that's what we'll need to take out to get this off. So I'll just separate this one as well. I find the ashtray ones are a little bit more hard to work with. You need to take the tray out. And these are a little bit fiddly, these little tabs on the ashtray version. They do come in the end, there we go. So that's that separated. Yeah, unfortunately, these two are different in their construction. You can see that one's got a bit of a... Let me put them the right way around so we're comparing them in the same place. This is the ashtray version. You can see it's actually quite a bit narrower here than this version, which goes all the way out to maximize the space. Right, so let's put these in their open position so we can get access to the 3 screws. We'll undo them 1, 2, 3 and take this top piece off. One, 2, and down in here, 3, and off it comes. Find my screw. Okay, right, we'll put this out of the way for now as well. And this one, open it up, and we'll do the same on this one. One, hopefully you guys can see that. 2, and the 3rd one there. Oh, these ones are fiddly. Surprisingly tight, those ones. Oops. Okay, and that one should slip out now. There we are. So that's the non-smoking hinge mechanism and the door that I need to get rid of, and this is the door that I need to keep. Now on the back of these, let's turn them both around the same way. This piece here is actually slightly different. This little rubberized piece on the ashtray version. Let's take that out of the way. And on the non-smoking version, it's a plastic piece. So we take that and we'll swap that in there. So this is the one we no longer want, the bird's eye maple. Let's put that one out the way as well. And we're going to swap that back into here. And from here it's just basically the reverse of what we've already done, just gradually reassembling everything. So we'll insert that in there, trying to line up those little, if you can see them, there are little locating dowels there and another one down there. We need to make sure line up in the holes. Assuming they do, this should all go back together nicely. Right, so I'll speed through this bit while I reassemble. Okay, getting there. These 3 are somewhat awkward because they are quite tight into this plastic. Obviously, with any of these plastic screws, try not to use excessive amounts of force on them because they are only going into plastic. Right, there we are. So So that's that first piece reassembled. You can see the soft open works fine. Incidentally, if you've got two of these and your soft open isn't working properly, you just need to remove this cog using that one little screw and swap it over to the other one to get your soft close working. Lovely little latching mechanism there. Anyway, I digress. Next step is bring back the box and to bring that in here. Remembering that we've got these locating pieces on the side to help it all slip back together, and then we've got 4 more of the small screws, 2 on the top here, 1 there, one in the middle, one down the front, right there, not using a lot of force on those, one at the back in the corner, there we go. Alright, there we go. Now the last stage is to get our correct coloured wood piece and put that back on there. Get the little locating dowels that need to go in, one at the top and one at the bottom. And then we've got 4 screws, 2 top, 2 bottom. These are the larger screws. Again, try not to use too much force on these because they are only going into plastic. Try and keep myself in shot here as well. Another one there. And the final one, top corner there. Right, check that everything functions as it should. If you've got any trouble with it working, it might be that you've knocked this out of alignment. Just knock it back and it should engage properly. And then the last piece is to put back on this little end cap that we removed earlier. The big tab on it goes into the bottom. Hold that in place, and then we're just stretching the top piece over and we're done. And that's that. We now have the correct wood color, non-smoking option. We're going to reinstall this back into the car. This simply pushes in to that part of the car, and then the chrome trim pushes it over, and then we'll need to reinstall the switches that run across this edge here. Very simple. There we are, that's it installed in the car, looking lovely. Gives me lots of room now for phones and bits and bobs, so I'm really happy with that. For anyone wondering how you install this, how you get this panel out, if you just open that, stick your finger down, and give a little pull, and that will loosen up this panel. Take that panel out, disconnect the connector, and then you can literally just lift this piece up after you've levered the chrome piece out with your fingers. No tools required at all. Simple as that. So this is one of a series of videos about accessories for the LS430, both aftermarket and OEM ones. So if you want to see more of these sort of things, we're going to talk about tables and stuff in future, for instance, then please do subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Sorry, I completely forgot to say how you get hold of these. So if you're in a right-hand drive country, you probably want to get these from Yahoo Auctions Japan or something similar. I won't go through the process of how exactly you do that because that's kind of covered elsewhere. You can Google that, but I will put a link to Buyee, which will have listings for these where you can try and find one. If you're in North America, realistically, to find left-hand drive ones, you're probably going to be looking the second-hand market in your country. So you're going to be going on eBay or something like that to have a look and see if you can find them. Though they're quite rare, they're not unheard of in North America. People did spec these and did buy them from dealerships back in the day. So just have a look around and one will turn up eventually. There seems to be loads of them in Japan, right-hand drive versions, if you're after them. Okay, thank you and goodbye.